how are my DJ skills? I think they might be getting better. You can see me. You can hear me.
Yeah.
And we are live. That is amazing. Like, it totally worked out. And the lights are still on, which is awesome, because I think just a moment ago before we went live, they weren't working. And we are excited to be here. And I think Fiona's about to change that. So if the lights go out, it is because Fiona is about to take them out. Okay, boo-boo, let's have you have a seat here. This is Celebrate Your Success Sundays. We are here with the Celebrate Your Success crew. And why are we here? And what are we doing? We are here celebrating. We are celebrating week after week that we are adding ridiculous amounts of value to the community. Say hi, Fiona. Everybody's saying hi to you. Okay. Hi, guys. And why are we here? Well, we are here, folks, because this is the place where top professionals go to learn, earn, give, and grow. So if you are a top real estate professional, people are writing all sorts of things to me. People are entering in the room, and this is what it looks like when you are doing Zoom and not Clubhouse. People are registering left and right. So we are so excited to have so many people here. Thank you for being, oh my gosh, it just keeps getting better. And the purpose of this show not only is to learn, earn, give, and grow. We're also here because I'm on a mission. My name is Erica Rose Siegel. I am the director, the co-founder, a lot of other titles here, and we have other co-creators here who are on a mission. We are on a mission to sell a minimum of 1 million homes in my lifetime to eradicate domestic violence. And I'm so grateful to watch week after week. And we have different people joining the show, adding value, and making a difference in the world. And tonight we have guest speaker, veteran Texas realtor, Rebecca Dawson, who's here to share her thoughts on compassionate real estate, caring for clients, and also, first and foremost, caring for yourself. So Rebecca, I'm going to sit back, I'm going to take notes, and I'm going to take over by admitting people, not to the hospital, but to the room. That's what happens in Zoom. You're constantly admitting. So go for it, Rebecca. Tell us about yourself, what's going on, and it's your show, girl. Go for it.
Well, I hope whatever I say tonight won't put anyone in the hospital, so let's just admit them to the show. I've been in real estate with my husband for 15 years. Prior to that, I was a public school music educator. And interestingly enough, there's a lot of crossover, I think, in the education business and in the real estate business. And we'll talk some more about that in just a little bit here. I'm really excited that Eric and I teamed up. We met through a mutual friend, and I've been listening and assisting as I can, from a distance. I'm here in Texas and she's in Queens, New York, but the real estate community is large and the community of caring people is large. And so we're excited to have new folks here tonight. I see lots of new faces, and some of our own team from Texas is joining with the rest of you who perhaps know Erica through different channels. We want to give a shout out to Ronald Reagan, who's with us tonight. He's our background IT guy. He masterminds a lot of what we do here. So we want to give him a thanks as well. When Erica invited me to speak, I tried to kind of narrow down what I thought I could share that would have meaning to both realtors that are attending the show tonight and to consumers who are on the show tonight. And I think that's a tall order. And so I thought that I would try to share information that would be broad enough to be purposeful to everyone, but specific enough to add value to people in whatever walk of life they're coming from. So tonight's topic is compassionate real estate, caring for clients. And you may be a realtor who's caring for clients, or you yourself may be a client. And either way, hopefully this topic will be broad enough that you'll walk away with something in mind. If you're a realtor, obviously we're going to be talking about some nuts and bolts things that will bring value to your business. If you're a consumer thinking about buying or selling a home, hopefully the information tonight will give you some idea of what to look for when you are searching for a realtor. Because just like in any profession, there are good ones out there and there are mediocre ones out there, and there are some really bad ones out there that you want to try to stay away from, quite frankly. So we're going to try to give you some information to help you make good decisions for your future investments. So let's get started here. Our specific mission tonight with this topic of compassionate real estate is we're going to be talking about how to build lasting relationships between realtors and clients as the realtors offer impeccable service. Okay. And on a more local level here, our goal underneath that umbrella of the mission, our goal from this talk is to have our future transactions with our real estate clients unfold in a very smooth and calm manner. And for that to happen, communication and education are two key elements. And that's largely what our focus is going to be on tonight. Our personal motto in our business has always been kind of like our tagline, you know, how people have taglines and quotation marks on their business cards. Our personal motto for my husband and I has always been the Dawson team, personal service, professional results. And over the years, we've been in business 15 plus years now. We can trace a wonderful family tree of transactions from one client who's given referrals that have led to other clients and multiple transactions within families. And it's really fun to see your business grow with that kind of service. And you just have very devoted and loyal clients over the years if you treat them in a really wonderful way. In trying to think about how to treat people in general, I thought it would be good to just talk about some nitty-gritty details of good personal interactions with people. And in whatever walk of life you're coming from, this will have great impact if you take these ideas forward in whatever your profession is. First, interactions are really important. Just like in the real estate business, the first impression, perhaps the curb appeal of a house has great lasting impression. What is it? The experts tell us now you have like 3 seconds to make a great impression. That's really fast. So your first interaction with people are going to look at you and notice your general demeanor. Are you friendly? Are you positive? Are you energetic? Are you open? Do you smile and look them in the eye when you meet them? You know, that those kind of simple good manners. I remember my grandfather always telling me, when you shake someone's hand, you look them straight in the eye. Okay. So just that kind of normal common sense, everyday sort of general demeanor is noticed by people. Then as you start to talk to them a little bit more after that first impression, you're trying to find ways to build rapport. Our guest speaker last week, Sandy Fetter, talked about this. You know, he said you ask courteous questions, you know, you listen, you're interested in what they have to say, you build rapport. You know, how are you? Where are you from? You know, what brings you to live in this part of the world? You know, whatever questions are pertinent and have meaning in the moment, you can ask about. Continue to maintain eye contact, actively listen. And the body language experts will tell us that when you're first meeting someone, it puts that other person at ease if you actually mirror their body language back to them. Okay? So if the person's standing with their arms across their chest, while that does mean they're a little closed off, they're just being protective of themselves because you're a stranger, perhaps. So go ahead and mirror that. And oddly enough, you'll find that their arms will relax and then you can relax and open up as well. So just kind of have your antenna up and be watching for those kind of body language things. So we've got general demeanor is positive. You're going to build rapport. After you've had an initial conversation with them, hopefully you will have, if things go well, you will have exchanged some means of communication with them. You'll exchange business cards, you'll jot down their information, you'll send each other a text message right away, but try to follow up within 24 hours. Send that person that, gosh, it was great to meet you text yesterday. Thank you so much for your time in the grocery store or wherever it was that you met them. Give them some kind of, memory jogger as to how you met if the conversation was not long. Try to recap what you talked about. And if they asked you to provide any information, obviously provide the information. It's so sad to me when I'm trying to get information from other service providers. I do this all the time. We write to somebody, we ask for help with something, and like a week later, you get a response. I wouldn't be writing if I didn't need it like that. I need the information right away. And so people are used to instantaneous communication these days, and you just really have to provide that kind of service if you want to have loyal clients or in any field, whether it's real estate or something else. So follow up within 24 hours. And then lastly, about first interactions, if the conversation goes exceedingly well, you've exchanged information, go ahead and call the question with the person about setting an appointment in the next few days to either sit down and talk to them about their real estate needs, talk to them about setting an appointment to discuss what they want to buy, or going to their home and setting a listing appointment. Okay. So don't expect the client to take that step. You're the professional. You can call the question and see if you can move the conversation a little bit further to the goal that they're looking at. At this point, are there any questions or comments before I kind of launch into part two here?
I've got a comment.
Sure. Go ahead, Al. Thanks.
Hey, my name's Al Bellington. I live down in Miami Beach by way of Brooklyn, New York. I put my bio up in the chat. I do a lot of sales training with realtors. I was a Sandler sales trainer for over 15 years, and realtors were kind of my specialty. So you said a lot of things that kind of resonated with me, like mirroring the customer. Like when somebody leans back, you lean back. If somebody sits with their hand up, and it's not mimicking them. It's what you said. It's trying to get somebody to feel comfortable with you. Because nobody does business with people they don't like. Right. And nobody does business with people that make them feel uncomfortable. And a lot of the things you said, and we say this in Sandler training, is you always want your client to be more okay than you. Even though you're the professional, even though you're the expert, there's a way to talk to them, because on your first call, you're bonding and building rapport. You can't get to the next step, which is an appointment, without bonding and building rapport. So I just thought what you said was kind of spot on. And that's one of the things that I do for people. And, I don't charge for it anymore. It keeps my skills sharp when I help people with sales training. I'm on Clubhouse a lot, and I have a cold call club room. And I find it's only realtors, because they seem to have forgotten that they're just as good on social media or on the phone than they are in person. And with COVID, when you can't meet people, you can't, in some places, you can't even set up a showing. A lot of things have to be done digitally, and a lot of realtors have some cold call reluctance because they think they're not as good if they're not in person. And I'm here to tell you that you all are just as good as you are in person as you are on the phone or on video. So I'll stop talking now.
Well, that's fine. We appreciate your comments so much. We've all had to get creative with technology because of COVID. And I think whatever barriers any of us might have thought about it's better to meet in person, that's still my preferred way to do it. But I think Zoom is making things a whole lot easier, and Skype and all those other options, Messenger, FaceTime calls, that kind of stuff works well too. So thank you so much for chiming in there. We appreciate that. This next part is going to be sort of twofold. I'm going to go through the basic things that realtors do for their clients that can set you apart in the listing side of the equation, and then we'll talk about the buying side of the equation. So if you're, whether you're a realtor or a consumer, these are just general steps that happen in a real estate transaction. It's always interesting to me in the 15 years my husband and I have been doing this, that people who have bought homes they forget what happens in the transaction. First-time buyers obviously don't know anything about the process, and repeat buyers have forgotten. And if they've never sold a house, they're first-time sellers. They've already bought, but now they're selling for the first time. They don't know that process, and then repeat sellers forget the process. People just don't remember everything. So this is just kind of a good review of what can happen to continue to build that working relationship with your clients. When realtors do a listing, I personally advise this because it has worked for me over time. I don't necessarily go to the house to sign all the paperwork the first time. I like to go look at somebody's home with them. I like to be in their house. I want the seller to give me the tour. I want to know what my clients like best about their house. I'm going to be the one that's doing the marketing. I really need to know from them what attracted them to the home when they bought it, however many years previously. I also want to know from them what they would fix if they needed to fix anything. there may not be, I'm not talking like obviously a cracked foundation or something like that, or a hole through the roof is a major deal. But like if they wish they had done, landscaping in this area, or if they had really, gosh, I wish I had repainted that bathroom. I mean, some of that kind of stuff I can help them take care of. And other things I can use when I'm talking to future buyers or doing an open house, I could mention to them, they really wish they had planted that tree in the corner 5 years ago, but I think it would be a good idea if you were buying this house and maybe consider what they wish they had done. So that just comes from talking to people and listening to them. I usually go in with a notepad. I'm kind of old school about that. I take notes. I find from my clients after it's all said and done that they end up liking the fact that I took notes. I mean, it means I'm interested. They can see that I'm writing down what they're saying. Those notes usually end up helping me as I write information in the MLS. I'll just jot down all sorts of stuff, and it usually goes in the agent remarks for other agents to see pertinent information. Helps me with my marketing strategies later on. And at this point, when I'm just doing the visit in the home, I will generally talk to them about how the commission situation is going to work, because I do not like surprises at the formal listing part where I show up the second time with the paperwork. I don't want any surprises. So I try to go, I tell them what we're going to be doing in this first meeting at the second true listing presentation. So I answer any questions. So that's like visit number 1, touring the house, talking through everything. At that point, with my information about the house, I go back home and I do my comps. I prepare like a sliding scale of where I think the home could sell. And then I'll share that information. I usually email it to my clients, let them, we'll kind of look at it together. I like doing an Excel spreadsheet where I list all the comps, and I'll put like their list price, their sold price, how many days on market, how many square feet, cost per square feet. I'll also look up the assessed value from the local tax district and share that information with them. I'll even sometimes include the percentage above that it's sold above the assessed value, or the percentage below. I'll make notes if there's anything really weird about the house, like it was an estate sale, or why is it priced 20% below the assessed value? Well, they're going through a divorce. If I can find out any details like that, it helps my clients get a better understanding of the comps that have sold and any homes that are active on the market. I generally don't look at active listings as legitimate comps. I like to only look at sold listings, but I usually include the active things, because that's really the competition. If we're looking in a specific subdivision or neighborhood, my clients want to know, well, what about that house down the street? What's it listed for? And so I include that in my comp spreadsheet to share with them, email that to them. And then at that point, sometimes we talk through it on the phone. I prefer to go back and visit with them face to face in the house. And at that point, I will take the listing agreement, but we review the comps, we discuss an appropriate price. If the seller wishes to list it towards the high end of that sliding price range, I explain to him that, well, we can do that, but you may actually get a higher price if we would set the list price a little bit lower. Because, I mean, really for a seller, what you want to create is a multiple offer situation that will, help the price go up a little bit. So that education piece is important to discuss with your clients. Also, if they really insist on setting it higher than what I think it should be, I explain to them that if we don't get, some good, really strong nibbles or an offer or two within the first week to 10 days, we got to drop that price where I think it needs to be. And so they'll usually agree to that. So it's okay to try stuff, but if it doesn't work, you got to change it pretty fast, or you're losing time on market. Then after we kind of settle on the price, I'll talk to them about a timeline for the listing, like, how ready are they for it to hit the market? What do they still need to do? Do they want to put mulch in the flower beds? Do they need to paint that bathroom that's not so pretty? Whatever they need to do. I also offer to help with staging. A lot of folks, at least that we deal with, don't even think about staging, and stagers are pretty expensive where we do business. And I don't know, just rearranging a few pieces of furniture can make a huge difference on how a house shows. And I usually try to explain to them that it's not, we're not rearranging the furniture for how they wish to live in it. We're rearranging the furniture to maximize space and maximize flow and maximize purpose. A lot of people don't use spaces like they're intended in their houses. For example, an office off of the front door area, off of the foyer of a house that's supposed to be a home office, if it's got a bed in it, it looks weird, and it kind of throws off buyers when they walk in. So I just try really hard sometimes to rearrange furniture so that the house looks like it's supposed to look. And folks are usually pretty agreeable to that, and I don't charge them anything for it. So it saves them money and it helps the house sell. So we talk through those sorts of things. We have over the years, to get a house ready to list, I've painted garage floors, I've cleaned windows with razor blades, I've put mulch in flower beds, I've packed people's boxes to get them out of the house in a timely manner so that we could get it shown. So I don't know, realtors do it all. At least in our world, we do it all. I think sometimes we just have to do that. And as long as you can express that you're willing to help, encourage them to do it themselves. But when push comes to shove, you may have to just step in and say, hey, let me help you do that. Okay. Lastly, we would go over the actual paperwork for the listing agreement. And every state, has their own things. And if the client is ready at that point to sign the listing agreement, I prefer that. Some people are really detail oriented. They want to read it overnight. They may have a lawyer that they want to have review it, and that's okay. Let them take the time they need to be comfortable. Generally, people sign when I'm there with them. It just kind of works out that way. But it's okay if they don't. That's all right. I want them to be comfortable. Okay. After that process, I need to ask them if they need any contact information from me for various service providers, excuse me, that they might need to reach out to, like I'm thinking about, the lawn service people or somebody to wash all the windows on their house. A good realtor should have all those people, in their, I like to say Rolodex, but nowadays it's our cell phones, all the contacts. Provide that to them. And then I will follow up, like if we've got like a 2-week or 3-week window for them to finish packing, declutter, get everything ready to go. A week after we've talked, I'll say, hey, call them up. Hey, how's it going? Do you need any help with anything else? Just touch base, be supportive. At some point during this process, whether it's at the actual signing of the listing agreement or further down, depending on the window of time that it takes to get a listing ready, the seller needs to be informed and clearly understand the times that are allowed for showing appointments and how people are going to get into the house and how they're going to get notified that a showing's been called in. Different states do it different ways. There's all sorts of systems, but somehow that procedure for your seller about appointments, safety concerns. I always tell them to pack their jewelry away. Don't leave jewelry just laying around, any valuables, lock it in the trunk of their car and just leave it there so that when they drive off, they're taking all their precious things with them. Alarm codes have to be discussed. If there's a code to the house, how the visiting realtor gets in with the prospective buyer. All those kind of nitty gritty details have to be talked about. Make sure you're going over all that with your sellers. Talk to them about, does the seller want you to do an open house? Open houses are really popular in Texas. I know in the big urban areas, we generally try to do open houses on the Saturday or Sunday, the first weekend of a listing. And the market's so crazy down here, we're lucky if we even get a chance to have that open house because things are going under contract like on Thursday nights after they're in the MLS system for like 10 minutes. It's just been insane. I'm not sure if it's the same all over the nation, but it's pretty crazy here. But hopefully we get to have an open house, as that's a chance for realtors to pick up, other buyers and meet other people. I always review the marketing plan. I'll let them know once we go active, it's going to be showing up on MLS, Zillow, Trulia, all the other websites that are linked to the MLSs will pick up those syndications and broadcast that more. I let them know that I'm posting stuff on Facebook, I'm posting stuff on Instagram, I'll be making pretty ads with my Canva graphic kind of stuff. And so they feel comfortable that marketing is going to be happening. And then as the showings start, you just stay in touch with the agents that are bringing people and let the client know what's happening. It's not unusual with the listing and how I handle my clients. I'm like in touch with them like 4 or 5 times a day, either with text messaging or phone calls as the case is needed. Kim's nodding her head yes. Yeah, there's a lot of contact. We have a good realtor friend down in Mexico that we did business with for a few years, and she describes real estate as a contact sport. She says if you're not willing to be in contact with people, you should probably go do something else. So it's constant contact. Okay. A word of caution as you're working with your sellers: don't mention any offers until you have a contract in hand from the buyer's agent, because people change their mind and your seller will get all excited and then all of a sudden nothing materializes. So, it's okay for a buyer's agent to call you and say, oh, I'll be getting, an offer to you later today. Well, that's great. Wonderful. Send it. Love to have it. Can't wait to see it. But don't tell your seller anything until you have it in hand. Okay. I've made that mistake a few times early on, and it's really disappointing to your client to not have it show up. So just keep that information to yourself. When the offer does appear, clearly present the terms, explain to the seller everything that's being offered. If you're in a multiple offer situation, again, go to an Excel spreadsheet and put it all out there so that they can clearly see on one piece of paper what they're dealing with. We're used to looking at contracts. Our contracts here in Texas are about 14 pages long. And sellers are not used to looking at all that legal mumbo jumbo stuff. And it's very confusing and it's very overwhelming. And you don't want that stress on them. They've got enough decisions to make anyway. So the more you can simplify it, the happier they will be. And they'll be appreciative of you taking that extra step in there. Once an offer is accepted, prepare your seller for what happens next. And what would that be? Well, that would be the inspection and the potential of possible repairs. Okay. So they need to be prepared for some strange person coming in their house. They're going to have to be gone for, 2 to 4 hours. And then they're going to get probably something from the potential buyer, asking for X, Y, and Z. And that's normal. Okay. And the more you can talk about it up front, sometimes even in the early listing, process, explain what happened, especially with a first time seller, because they just won't know. They don't know. They don't remember what they did when they were the buyer. So give them a chance to kind of process that information. Then when the repair amendment does come in, they'll be more open to it and things should go a whole lot easier. Communicate the terms of that repair amendment clearly with your seller. Help them understand by you doing some legwork and getting bids on the repairs. If the buyer's actually asking the seller to pay for it, you're going to have to do that again because you're the professional. You know who the service providers are. Okay, don't expect your seller to do the legwork on that. That's why they're paying you. So make sure you do that for them. Get the bids on the repairs. Coordinate the repairs. Maybe the seller works all day long and they don't want a stranger in their house. You may have to go over there and open up the house to let the plumber in or the electrician or whatever needs to happen. Okay. The other thing you have to prepare the seller for after the inspection process is the appraisal. That'll be the only other time somebody's coming in their house once the repairs are handled. And sellers sometimes don't quite understand, that will kick in if a loan is involved on the buyer's part. And that's to me the scariest part of a real estate transaction. And a savvy seller will understand that, and they may express some concern like, well, what happens if the appraisal comes back low. And you have to explain, well, it's really one of four things. If it comes back low, we can either agree to have you drop the price to the appraisal. We can have the seller agree to pay anything over the appraised price out of their pocket. We can agree to meet in the middle, where you come down a little bit, they come up a little bit above what their lender is willing to give them, or we all say next, and the buyer finds another house and you find another buyer. So I mean, those are kind of the options. And hopefully at that point, things work out, because by that point in time, the buyer has, of course, paid for the inspection, paid their earnest money, paid the option fee. In Texas, we have an option fee for the inspection period, and they've paid for the appraisal. In most cases, buyers in Texas have already spent up to this point close to between $800 and $900. So, and that doesn't include the earnest money. That's just the inspection and the appraisal fee. So usually the buyer has a little more incentive to stay in the game, but the seller may have to, be flexible and negotiate a little bit to keep the deal active. But again, the more you talk about it, the better they'll be about understanding the process. Okay, let's see what else here for the seller. Once you get through that appraisal process, you're basically just facilitating the final steps to get you to closing. You may have to assist with packing, cleaning, helping them find somebody to clean, making sure they've hired the movers. Sometimes a lease back is necessary if the seller can't quite get out and they need to rent their own house after closing. That's some paperwork in Texas that's possible. And then don't forget to tell them to get a final reading on the utilities. They're going to have to pay the final bill because the buyer's got to set up the new utilities. That's something people tend to forget. Make arrangements for how the keys are going to get transferred. How are the new buyers going to get the keys and remote controls for the garage, all that kind of stuff. And then the last little bit is really the fun part, buying a gift to take to closing. Show up with something nice for your folks with a thank you note. If things went exceedingly well and you ended up really having a great relationship with your sellers at this point, ask them for a testimonial. Ask them to send you an email with how they felt about the process with you, and then you can use that in your on your website or in your other publicity. And then stay in touch. It's not a one transaction deal. In the course of all this time, at this point, you've probably been like talking to this person 4 or 5 times a day. I always get kind of depressed when the transaction's over with, because I've had so much fun with my client up to that point in time. I kind of miss talking to them 4 or 5 times a day. There's kind of a big hole in my day. So I generally stay in touch once a week or so, usually through Facebook, something like that. And it's nice to send them a note on their birthday or an anniversary, something like that. So that's about it for the selling process. Any questions at this point before we go down the buyer side of the transaction? Any comments or questions? Have I put you to sleep? Y'all wave at me so I know you're awake.
No, there's no sleeping. I'm more just like, wow, I feel like I'm in school. I feel like I'm learning so much. And I'm like thinking to myself, it's going back to my teaching days when I was literally putting this lesson plan together for my kids. Yeah. And I'm sitting here like, my goodness. So whether you're in the business for 1 week, 1 year, 14 years, she's covering every single basis. Or if you're not in the business, knowing what to look for in a realtor, there might be steps that could be missing. I'm like, wow, I don't know if I have all that per se organized in a and there might be people that are on this and being like, oh, I do that, but it's not organized, or my realtor did that, but it's not organized. There might be an idea like, hey, I'd like to speak next week, next month about how I systemize or organize this situation.
Yeah.
Because Rebecca's got a lot of value add, and we have all different people from all walks of life on this show. So thank you for the value add, Rebecca.
Very good. Well, let's switch over. Thank you, Erica. Let's switch over to the buying side of the equation here. So when you're working with a buyer, and you first sit down to talk to them, or you're perhaps on the phone, however you're communicating with them, ask a lot of questions. The more information you can glean from them in this initial conversation, the better you can serve them. The worst thing in the world is to spend a whole bunch of time showing people a bunch of houses that aren't what they want. It reminds me of the old saying about, don't teach a pig to sing. It frustrates you and annoys the pig. And so, you don't want to you don't want to waste a whole bunch of time with folks um, not getting them what they want. So ask a lot of questions, take a lot of notes, listen, and be prepared for differences between couples. It is not unusual for husbands and wives or significant others to not necessarily agree. And it's important to hear both sides of it and to take good notes and then talk to them about, well, you want one thing and your partner wants something else over here. How can we find something that will make you both happy? And then see if you can get them to agree. Sometimes we have to act like marital counselors a little bit as realtors, but that's okay. That's okay. Obviously, the important questions when you're working with buyers are location, price, size, 1 or 2 story. Are schools important? If they have children, that may be an issue. Do they want a yard? If so, small, big, fenced, shaded? Do they have pets? Is that going to be important? Are amenities in their neighborhood important? In the large urban areas of Texas, we have all these massive subdivisions that have like fitness centers and pools and sports courts and all that kind of stuff. And for some people, that's not an issue. They don't want all that. And so if they don't want all that, then it's nice to steer clear of that because there's always extra fees attached to that kind of thing. Do they want a swimming pool? Do they care about what style of the house? Do they want solar panels? All those kind of details. The more you can glean from conversations with them, the better. I sometimes also like to ask buyers, what are your needs versus what are your wants? Because some people get really confused about that. They may want a 4,000 square foot house when all they really need is 2,600 square feet. So it sometimes we talk about having champagne tastes on a beer budget. You want those two to be a little more balanced. So help them realize that what they want is not necessarily what they need. What do they really need? Figure that one first, and then see if you can add some wants on to make it be a little more special for them. It's important to talk to them about their finances. And I frequently explain it to my clients that I'm sorry I have to ask these questions, but it's kind of like going to the doctor. You really need to be honest, with your doctor. Well, you're really going to need to be honest with me, and you're going to need to be honest with a lender if you're getting a loan, because they're going to find it all out anyway. So let's just talk finances here for just a second. If they need a loan, I usually steer them towards some reputable lenders that we've done business with over the years. If they don't need a loan and they want to do a cash purchase, I prepare them for the fact that they're going to have to provide proof of funds. They're not just going to be able to say, yes, I'll pay cash for this, and the seller's not going to accept them at their word because they don't know them. So they have to understand that some kind of proof of funds will be important. Back to the loan situation for just a second. It's super, super important with first-time buyers to give them some understanding of the loan process. Granted, their lender will review all this with them, but they're so afraid. I find that first-time buyers are so worried about even getting a loan that they're just kind of petrified about even picking up the phone and calling a lender. And, if they have a little better understanding of the fact that there's going to be an initial conversation with the lender, then the lender's going to guide you to their website for an online application. You'll probably talk to the lender again when they issue you a pre-approval letter. And then your loan will go into what is called processing, and then it goes into underwriting, and then you get final approval. And you really won't get final approval until maybe a week before closing, if we're lucky. Okay, so they have to understand that it's a timeline that unfolds, and generally I like to give about 6 weeks for all that to happen. We'll usually start a home search anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks before when they need to be in the house. So, but the market's so crazy in Texas right now. I think we're sometimes having to go maybe even 9 to 10 weeks out, because you have to kind of build in a little cushion for not necessarily getting the first home you bid on. But if you can pre-educate your buyers about the loan process, they'll not be so afraid to pick up the phone and make that first call, because that really is the first step. Years ago, we used to be able to go out and work with buyers before being pre-approved, and we just can't do it in this market anymore. I won't even show people a house without a pre-approval letter in hand. There's no point. I have to know that they're qualified for their loan, or pre-approved, pre-qualified for their loan. And if they're not, I just have to tell them, hey man, you just got to get it. There's no point in us looking, because you won't be ready to put in an offer. You haven't done your legwork. So that's a conversation that we have to have. Once they have all that, either you have proof of funds or you have their pre-approval letter from their lender, you're ready to start searching. That's when the search process can really start. And at that point, there's a couple choices for a realtor. The realtor can either do all the legwork, or the client can do all the legwork. And it doesn't really matter to me. I'm happy to do whatever the client wants. I think we tend to see most buyers today are pretty savvy with technology. I mean, they can all get on the computer and look for homes and contact us. Oh, I really like such and such home on such and such street. And, then I'll check it in MLS and I'll get back and say, yep, it's available. We can still see it, or nope, it went under contract yesterday. So that kind of dialogue can happen. But if it's an older client who does not have that technology skill set, then I have to find a way to send them stuff in an email and send it on a regular basis and touch base with them on a regular basis. So you just kind of have to really understand what your client's capable of doing in order to provide them the best service. Explain the local market to your clients. That's a really important piece of the puzzle with buyers. I think most people now kind of get that, at least in San Antonio, they do. They understand. I mean, people talk, and the information is out there that it's a seller's market. I mean, the buyers can't even. I mean, it's not unusual to have 15, 25 offers on a house, and within the first 24 hours, it's on the market in Texas. I mean, it's just nuts here. So, I mean, I think that word is kind of out, but if you're dealing with an older client, again, who maybe because of COVID has been stuck in their house for a long time and is not real technology savvy, they may have to understand, that, well, we're gonna look for you a home, and you're gonna have to be able to make a decision while we're standing in the house if you want to put an offer on it. Because by the time we go home and we think about it, it's got 15 offers on it. That's really hard. That's really hard for people to grasp. But the more you can talk about it before you go, the better prepared they're going to be, and they're going to know what's going to have to happen. So really, that education piece is so important with buyers in today's market. In the initial conversation with your buyers, work backwards. Make sure you know, particularly if they're renting, when they have to be out of their current place, and work that timeline backwards so that they have ample time to find something. What you don't want is a homeless client because they're kicked out of their apartment and they're living in their car. I mean, that's not cool. Okay. Then you actually go out and you start looking at homes. I mean, once you've done all this preparation, you can actually look at the house. I don't like to show clients more than about 6 houses in a day. I think it gets on overload with them. They begin to not remember what they saw. So 4 to 6 is kind of ideal. And, take some snacks, take some water, take some soft drinks if you're driving them around. Most folks nowadays tend to like to drive themselves. Early on in our business, we always offered to take people. It gave us a chance to kind of talk in the car. But with the changes with COVID and everything, I think people might be a little more comfortable driving themselves and following you to the next house. And I also think if you're working with a couple, it kind of gives the couple a chance to talk in the car without you hearing what they're saying. And that can be productive. So, they can either reach an agreement, or they can really cuss and discuss the pros and cons of the house they just left. So either way is good. I always take a notepad when I'm showing houses. I like to take notes again. That's my old school technology coming in there. Mostly because clients can't remember. At the end of the day, they'll go, man, I can't remember if that was the house with the big kitchen island or the small kitchen island, And I always let them take photos too while they're there. I mean, that technology is available. Use that if they want to, they can do that. While we're in the home, I think it's as important to point out the negatives that you see as a realtor as the positives. You'll know what they're looking for by that point in time. If I'm with a first-time home buyer, I like to teach them what to look for. In other words, is there mold on the outside fascia board of the front of the house? Are there trees hanging over the house? Have the shingles been rubbed raw from, vegetation hanging on the roof? Are there rotted baseboards? Does the door frame need to be painted? I mean, I think it's your job to see stuff like that. And you can just point it out. You don't have to be like, oh, we can't look at this house because it has rotted fascia boards. Just say, that fascia board's going to need some attention. That's something we can put on a repair amendment. But you don't want to come across as being super positive about every house. It's important to point out the flaws because your job is to protect your client, not sell them the very first house that they see or the second or the third. Just make sure you're giving pros and cons while you're there, pointing out negatives as well as positives. After you finish looking that day, hopefully along the way, let me back up just a second. Hopefully along the way, you will have done what are called trial closes. I usually like to do it after we've seen the second house, because I don't necessarily want to call a question about, well, gosh, did you like that first house? Well, I just started looking. Well, after they've seen the second house, you can ask the question, well, of those first two, which did you like the best and what were the reasons? Let me know what you're thinking so I can better, help you, as we move forward here. So helping them compare, it's kind of like going to the eye doctor, lens number one, lens number two, which is better? Lens number one, lens number two. So help them sort of sort their feelings and their thoughts as you go. But then at the end of the day, after seeing 4, 5, 6 houses, call the question, which one do you think will meet your needs the best? And then be quiet. Give them a chance to answer. Okay? It's so tempting to just launch into the, your pros and cons as the realtor. Well, I really like this, and I really like it, because you're thinking I've got to sell them a house. You don't have to sell them a house. Your job is to help them select a house, not sell them a house. Okay, so just wait. Ask them what they liked, and wait. See what they say. It may be a real easy choice. They may say, well, I really liked house number 2, but man, these features on house number 4 really make my socks roll up and down. And so then you can help them sort through any objections, sort through any positives. Well, how would you weight, that magnificent chef's kitchen over the game room upstairs for the children, which is more important for your family? I think at that point, our job is to ask intelligent questions. And it's kind of like being a therapist, actually. You help the person find their own answer by asking really good questions. At that point, too, it might be helpful to explain and review with them about how many days on market each of those houses has been sitting there, because the days on market may affect how fast it's going to move. If the house has been on the market more than 30 days in Texas, they probably don't have to make a decision that moment. If it went on the market yesterday, they got to decide while you're standing there in the house. It's one of those kind of things in Texas right now. If they make a decision and they ask you to go ahead and write up an offer on something that they saw, you'll do that and you'll negotiate as needed. And the key is communication. You just have to stay in touch with them as the offer gets negotiated. You'll be going back and forth with the other agent as expected. Usually before I place an offer, I always touch base with their lender if they're working with a loan. The lenders we work with like to know the address. They'll run a quick check on the taxes to make sure that the tax situation is going to be within the buyer's financial means. And then I just want them to know we're moving forward with this one so that they can kind of start be ready for the paperwork as it starts to come to them too. I believe from a session or two ago with Erica when I was listening as a participant. I think at some point in New York, a lawyer has to be involved in the process. In Texas, we don't have to do that. All of our contracts are written by lawyers and by real estate brokers who work for the state agency that controls real estate transactions in Texas. So we don't have that that extra step in there where we have to go through the lawyer. So it's really between the realtors negotiating the contract, and then at that point it goes to the lender and to the title company, who acts as the escrow company. Next would be setting up the inspection for the buyer. Usually buyers don't know home inspectors, so I usually recommend somebody to them, and I have a staple of 3 or 4 guys that I've used over the years, and I usually call the one that is least apt to set my client's hair on fire with. I generally don't use anybody who sets my client's hair on fire, but some inspectors are good and some inspectors are bad. And you don't want a client, you don't want an inspector who's going to upset your client at the inspection by saying, oh, this is terrible. You really shouldn't buy this house. I mean, everything is fixable. And a good inspector will be really calm as they go over the report with clients. I encourage my clients to be at their inspections. And if they can't, I'm especially there. And I like to be there with them too, particularly if they're first-time home buyers. I try to find inspectors that will be helpful and educate first-time home buyers about things to look for in terms of home maintenance. What do you do with a hot water heater? What do you need to know about your HVAC system? What should you be doing about soaker hoses around the foundation of your home? All that kind of stuff is good information, particularly for a first-time home buyer. So it's good if they can be there. Prepare them for that. Draft an amendment as needed. If there's things you need to ask for that are really sort of non-negotiable. When that inspection report comes back in, I like to get on the phone with the buyer, and we go through every little thing, and I'll make a big long list of every stinking thing that needs to happen. And then I try to prioritize them, and I usually look for the big ticket items, the things that are going to cost the most if they're not fixed by the seller. And we don't ask for everything. I mean, some stuff is real nickel and dime kind of stuff, like missing a doorstop or something. I tell them you can buy that doorstop at Home Depot or Lowe's for, $3 to $5, and just take care of it. Let's don't torture the seller. Let's get them to fix the $3,000 repair on the HVAC system. That's way, way more important. So we talk about that and we educate our buyer about that. Then we negotiate that repair with the seller's agent. That usually goes pretty smoothly because if it's been set up well and you've prioritized stuff, it should go pretty smoothly. Sometimes, sellers will not want to fix things. And that's okay. They can give cash back at closing in lieu of repairs. They can pay some of the buyer's closing costs. That's perfectly fine. I'm a little OCD about repairs myself. I know when we've purchased homes, we tend to like to have the repairs handled by our own service providers. And so we would rather the seller give money back at closing and then us take care of the repairs once we're in the house, because then we know it's done right. I just don't trust other people's service providers. I like to use my own, but that's just me. The buyer will need to be prepared once you get through that repair and the amendment process. The next step, of course, will be waiting for the appraisal to happen. And the buyer will need to be prepared for final requests from their lender. By that point in time, they're probably getting through the processing of the loan and they're getting into the underwriting, and underwriters always want more paperwork. They always have last minute conditions that have to be met. And your buyer just needs to be prepared for that to happen, because if they're not, they get really frustrated. Well, I already turned in all this stuff. I did this a long time ago. Why do I have to give more, financial information to these people? Well, because they're loaning you a lot of money. They have to be a little bit understanding of the lender at that point. So that always kind of happens right there towards the end. The lender will send, if a lender's involved, they will send the required federal closing disclosure, and your buyer needs to be prepared for that and understand and be there to review it with them. Some lenders won't send it to me. Some lenders, sometimes I have to get that information from my buyers, but the lenders I tend to work with a lot are pretty good about carboning me on the email where they send the closing disclosure to the client so I can review the numbers with them. Actually, it saves the lender time because if I'm not doing it, they're going to have to do it. So they're pretty good about letting me help. And then just review the closing procedures. Your clients need to be told about any documentation they need to bring to closing. Usually in Texas, they want to see a driver's license and a social security card. Passport will work as well, whatever government forms the title company needs. And again, remind them about the utilities. They got to set up utilities in their name. That's something that people tend to forget more than anything, I think, is that little bit. Coordinate the closing with your folks. Make sure you're there. Take a gift, another thank you gift. Stay in touch. Ask for a testimonial. The last little steps here are kind of like the same thing as on the listing side. The fun thing about when you work with buyers is I usually take a photo of them at the closing and then post it on Facebook. And then, of course, it always pops back up in my memories, on Facebook a year or two or 3 or 4 later. And then I forward that to my client, say, happy house anniversary. I can't believe 4 years are already passed, that kind of a thing. So that's a lot of fun. So that's pretty much it for the buying and listing side of the discussion tonight. We're going to dash through here this last little bit. I've got just a couple of minutes. Hold any questions right now and let me get through this next little part before we stop here. These are just general thoughts as we conclude tonight. Whether you're working with buyers or sellers or any type of client in whatever business you have, it's as important to listen to what is not being said as to what is being said. Think about that for just a minute. It's as important to listen for what is not being said. Because if people don't ask something or they don't say something, one of two things is probably going on. Either they're truly ignorant about it in the best sense of the word and they don't know enough to ask, and so you have to ask them if they need to know about it, or they are bothered by something and they may not yet quite feel comfortable asking you about it. And it's always okay for you to bring it up and say, I'm just kind of thinking maybe we might want to talk about this. And that may relieve them of bringing up a difficult topic that they weren't quite sure about how to broach it with you, okay? So listen for what is not being said as well as for what is being said. Always ask questions and ask more questions to clarify. It's okay to ask a lot of questions. Don't be afraid to offer creative solutions. You're the professional, okay? Sometimes I think we're cautious about trying to be bossy with people, and we don't want to be bossy, but we do want to offer solutions when we feel like a solution is necessary. Number 4, maintain your sense of humor. Oh my goodness, if you can't laugh at a joke or make fun of yourself, when something weird happens, just, don't, probably need to find some other business to be in. I'm thinking about one of our agents in San Antonio who, years ago, when she was a young agent, she was out showing some homes in kind of a rough neighborhood in San Antonio. And they walked around to a back porch area of this older home in kind of a rough neighborhood. And she was leading the client and she walked around the corner to the back porch and there was an outline of a body on the porch. And obviously someone had been murdered there and they weren't quite through with the investigation. So, you just kind of have to laugh about stuff like that because you just don't know when it's going to happen, okay? Number 5 here, communicate calmly always with your clients. Always calmly. Keep those various solutions in mind before discussing any difficult issues. If you stay calm and you stay focused and you stay even-keeled, when your client is upset or stressed or out of control, they will more than likely feed off of you. You don't need to feed off of their energy when they're upset, okay? Your job is to stay calm. Number 6, it's okay to say, I don't know, and then get back to them, okay? While you want to appear to be the professional with the answers and the creative solutions, sometimes they're going to ask you a question that you just truly don't know. And then you can either call your broker, you can call some agent friends, you can Google it, I mean, whatever it takes, but get back to them really fast, okay? Just a little sales tip. This is true in all sales. You're picking up the phone, you're getting ready to call. Hi, smile before you call. Just smile. Smile while the phone is ringing. Just smile. It changes how your voice sounds, and it will make you be so much better on the phone than sitting there going, oh my God, I have to call this person again. Smile. Just smile. Okay. Always smile before you call. Again, just to be repetitious, return calls and texts ASAP. And lastly, find ways to feed your own soul. Okay. If you can't keep your soul and your heart nourished, it's going to be tough to feed other people. And by that, I mean feed their spirit, offer them help, provide them service. There's a lot of people pulling on you as a realtor. You're getting pulled all sorts of different directions. You're getting the client's needs, you're getting the lender needs, you're getting demands from the title company, from their lawyer, from the service providers, all that kind of stuff. Everybody's going to be using you as the point of contact. And so that's just a lot to juggle. I mean, it's just a lot of plates to juggle. So find the things that bring you peace, that bring you joy, that help you handle the stress, be it a bubble bath, be it reading a book, every night before you go to bed, unplugging the cell phone and the iPad and the computer, just turn it all off an hour before you go to bed so that your brain has a chance to rest. That's really important. Get a good 8 hours sleep, get some exercise. And as my friend Jennifer Garcia Hedinger is there, I'm watching Jennifer. We tease her about baking us a pie all the time. If you have to eat a piece of pie to feed your soul, that's okay too. All right, don't forget, real estate's a contact sport. Stay in contact with folks. And that's all I've got, y'all. What questions do you have? And I'm 4 minutes over. Sorry.
I'm laughing because she's like, and that's all I got, y'all. I'm like, that's all. Like, literally, that is all. I think she, like, literally, if you're in New York, you have to take a 75-hour course to become licensed. I know every state has their own requirements. I'm like, I think we just got that in 94 minutes. I'm sorry, 64, not 94. Don't give me any more time to talk tonight, guys. You can go back another day. You can reach out to her offline. And I'm just kidding, Rebecca. By the way, if there are questions in the questions that you have, feel free to write them in the chat. And what we can do is we can, connect offline and respond as well. Because I also just want to let people know a couple of things. Number one, I did ask Rebecca because once I realized that she was going to come how I used to come to, teaching a class, I had a 45-minute class and I would prepare enough information for 3 days. And so I was like, Rebecca was like, here, and there's more, and there's more. No, wait for it, there's more. So what I've asked her to do, and she graciously accepted, it's going to take time, is she's going to drop all of the information that she gave verbally in little pieces on Facebook and Instagram. So she might be wanting to go like this to me right now for offering that. But I really think it's a great idea because, and so does Fiona, please don't knock anything over. Thank you. Okay, we're back. Because, even 13 years in the business, 6 weeks in the business, or buyer, seller, renter, investor, anywhere in the world, you might be like, wait, I didn't even know I should be looking for that in a realtor. I didn't remember, or something else is happening. So to have these little, reminders, maybe you might be once or twice a week that she might just give you a taste of what just happened. And I think Kim had a question or something to say. So we want to hear from you. Kim, what's up?
Rebecca, that was amazing. You did a great job. I think
Thank you.
On the business side of it, it's so important to have a broker that you can call and talk to about stuff, talk through things. Just on the business side, it's so different. We deal with things different than buyers and sellers.
Mm-hmm.
They see things differently than we do. If we can talk to our broker and be able to know what's going on and have that communication with them, it makes such a big difference.
We love talking to Kim. We talk to Kim every day.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And
I want to introduce so people know we've got all these different Dawsons. We've got Cheryl Dawson on here somewhere. She was, I think. Cheryl is one of our agents, but my husband is Jim Dawson. Jim, wave. There he is. So he's my broker. So And my husband. I tease him that it's nice to sleep with the boss.
So
Oh my
Jim, you're the big cheese head.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, it's kind of interesting. As you can tell, it's hard for me to get a word in edgewise.
I can't even. I can't even.
Yeah,
So
Rebecca's a wonderful communicator, great with people. I'm kind of the numbers guy and the nuts and bolts behind the operation, but much of what she said, of course, is applicable in different professions. If forget the real estate. But the whole idea of communicating and communicating effectively is extremely important. And most of us, frankly, don't listen very well. And someone put a comment, I was looking through some things in the chat from Maya Angelou, and it's very, very important to keep that in mind, because people will not remember what you said. They will not remember what you did, but they will remember how you made them feel. And so that's the element of effective communication. And I think that's perhaps the most important thing in real estate. And we've lost that a little bit, that hands-on. I'm kind of a face-to-face, belly-to-belly type of person. I like that communication. And I'm not sure in many ways if we'll ever get back to that in our field. Technology is taking over a lot of things. So we need to get around, I think, some of the reluctance in using technology. Alan made the comment about utilizing it effectively, and I think that's extremely important that we do that. But the whole idea of communication is extremely important. Now, getting back to the first thing that Rebecca talked about, she gave a lot of detail, of course, and everything. But in terms of selling, people first of all want to know, what is my home worth, or what is it's worth that you're trying to sell? What's it going to cost me, and what are you going to do to sell it? I mean, it's a pretty simple process when you think about it. Lots of details that you have to remember, but it's a simple process, and just keep that in mind. But Rebecca's a great communicator. I always like to say that I hired her, married her, and retired, but it didn't work that way. But that's part of the equation. Yeah. Erica was asking me how I got by way of Chicago to Texas, but that was one of them. So I told her that I enjoy saying y'all rather than you guys. So.
oh my gosh, I love it. I love it.
We appreciate the opportunity to be with you all tonight, and we wish you a wonderful week and happy real estating and happy lives. Whatever you guys do, go forth and conquer.
Rebecca, you are amazing.
Thank you, dear. Love you.
Hey,
Well,
Jim and Rebecca. Rebecca, I reached out to you on Instagram. Jim, I'm going to guess you don't have one. If you do, I couldn't find you.
Yeah, I do have an Instagram account, but I'm not real active with it. But definitely reach out.
I deal with a lot of old schoolers who don't like internet, or they like paper and they like people. So, but Rebecca, I shot you a message there. I'd really love to talk to you guys about something that might be able to benefit your business and the realtors in it. But I don't want to bring that up to topic here in the room because it's separated.
Al, I really appreciate you. I actually plan to connect with you offline in the interest of honoring people's time here, because this was the longest show we've had to date. So we definitely, it's all good. You added so much value, and that's why we love you. But I just want you to know that I did already, put in the chat, and I just wanted folks to know who are watching this, whether it's live or on the replay, and the replay will end up on YouTube thanks to Ronald Reagan and his wife in support, Karen Reagan. And no, he's not the president or the former president. And yes, he is one of the people that makes this show run so smoothly. So thank you for that. So does Fiona. This is Fiona. She keeps mommy grounded until she knocks over the computer. But I wanted you folks to know that we are here every Sunday night, and this show is not about, one realtor or one contractor or one attorney. This is about real estate professionals coming together, adding value so that we can learn more, earn more, give more, and grow more. And while we were here, literally, I was looking at my Facebook, and this show was being shared and shared and shared again. I think we had 5 or 6 different shares on Facebook, because people know that the outcome of this show, in case you didn't know, we have a brand new person who just popped in tonight, who met me on Clubhouse as I had tears in my eyes. David Hill, thank you for being here. That the outcome of this show is that together we cumulatively sell a minimum of 1 million homes in my lifetime to eradicate domestic violence. So Rebecca, by giving the value that you added tonight, you gave us so much information, so much education, so much inspiration, so much motivation, so much to know and touch and feel. And she has pages of notes, I'm sure. There's pages. So now I'm really thankful because now we have content that we can reshare and help people so that they can sell more homes and change more lives. And we are here every Sunday, different folks, different strokes coming on, adding the value. And oh, look at that face, David Hill. Good to see you. I was like, I love Zoom because all of a sudden, like, if you show your face, you're in a different location. So this is live, and all of a sudden I'm like confused because I'm like, there's somebody here. Oh wait, somebody left. Somebody came in. What's happening? So next week, by the way, we are having, I confirmed with him, he's not on tonight, but he will be here next week. We are having Michael Arado. He's from Captain Permit, and he will be going over the permit process and services that his company provides for properties located in Nassau and Suffolk County. That's in New York. Now, first of all, he didn't make it sound very sexy, but I'm going to tell you for sure what he does is very sexy. Maybe you don't like those words. Maybe that's a little risque. He makes sure, and I was like, he didn't write back because he's driving. I was kind of like, you mean in other words, making sure that you don't invest all your money on a piece of beep. Yeah. Because sometimes you do. You buy a place and then it's a piece of beep. And his business partner actually buys pieces of beep and turns them into like really good investments right in New York. So whether you're in New York or you're in New Hampshire or you're in New Brunswick, Canada, or New Brunswick, New Jersey, or New Guinea, learning and earning and giving and growing, some of the tips he's going to know and hear and will help you in your business, whether you're a buyer, you're a seller, you're a renter, or investor, or maybe you have no job and you're like, oh, maybe I should get into the business. Because there are people without work right now that everyone needs a place to live. Like, that's not like a nice suggestion. So I just really want to say thank you for being here, for being a part of this community. I'm sure there's going to be more questions as you rewatch this. And Al, I do plan to have you, plan to have you back on the show if there's someone else, like with your own version of sharing content creation. And we have a Facebook, we have an Instagram channel, both are Celebrate Your Success. If you have things that you think matter there that you want to share, like you're like, hey, Erica, once a week, I want to add value on your channel, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I want to add value, go for it. Let me know what you want to add. We can put your content out there because it's not about Erica Rose. I don't even think I said where I worked. I'm from Keller Williams Greater now, so I might have forgotten that from the beginning. That's in New York. But it's not about me. It's about us coming together and making the difference we can in the world. And if you didn't know, this started because I came from a relationship that wasn't healthy. And if it wasn't for the village that helped me, I wouldn't be here today. And I mean that financially, emotionally, spiritually. I mean, every which way, shape, and form. I was below bankrupt in every direction possible. And I'm still, as of yesterday, still managing some stuff to get myself through and over, and it's been close to 4 years. So I also want you to know, just in case, and Rebecca, I'll come back to you real quick, and then if there's anything final that you want to add before we wrap up. But I am planning to donate for any referrals that we receive anywhere in the world. If start with me and I'll find you the right realtor, whether it's Texas or Tennessee or, Tulsa, Arizona. I thought someone was clapping outside. I don't know what's going on. But I'm donating 10% of my gross income to any referral I receive anywhere in the world, 5% towards a charity related to domestic violence, and the other 5% towards the charity of choice for the buyer or the seller. Last week, I did announce a specific charity. I realized they're not a 501(c)(3). Go figure. They're a great charity, but I'm not going to give like thousands and thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands to one that's not recognized. And they asked me not to donate to them. That's how great the Jacqueline Franchetti Foundation is. They said, please don't give that kind of money here because you won't be able to write it off. So I will still honor that charity. We can still make donations to that charity, but donating like 10% or 5% of a check every check is a lot to give to a charity that I can't write off. So I'll share more details because that organization, a 28-month-old daughter was killed because her father wasn't fit to parent. And it was a custody battle, and going through a divorce, they allowed the father to parent a daughter, even though the mom said, I don't think she's well enough to do that. He's well enough to do that, and the courts didn't listen. So he killed her and put the house on fire and killed himself. It's horrible. That should not be happening. And just to think of all the other people that are impacted. And I know David is showing his face, and I would like to actually hear from David really quickly, then kick it back over to Rebecca, and then if there's anyone else who wants to be speaking on a specific show, let us know. Or if you have someone that you know that can add tremendous value, they don't have to be an advocate for domestic violence. If they can actually help us sell more homes, we can save more lives. So I just want you to know that, like, I mean, it's not like, hey, I really know someone who's been impacted by this, I can only be on the show. No, if you know someone that can add tremendous value, meaning they're selling a lot in their neighborhood, or they can add value like Al, or a contractor, an attorney, a mortgage professional, name the person. I might not even be thinking of someone because it started with just me. And now it's becoming bigger and better and more influential. And I'm just so grateful. So I want to thank you. Thank you. I'm like, I don't know why I'm clapping for myself. I guess because I'm celebrating our success. David, I want to kick it over to you really quick. You heard me speak earlier. I'm like, oh my gosh, now this is who I am. I didn't do my hair because I was crying instead. So here we are.
All good.
Go for it. What did you want to, what do you have to say really quick?
Well, thank you for, excuse me, thank you for inviting me on. And it's just ironic that I had no idea what I was logging on to be honest. And I just got done getting ready for my coaching call tomorrow. And my coaching call, I coach with Tim Story personally. I'm blessed to be able to coach with Tim. If you don't know who Tim is, you should know his book, The Miracle Mentality. But anyways, I'm getting ready for the call. There's an exercise, and I have to, why do I want to be successful? And you have to break it down 7 times. So everything you write down, you have to go to the next level, 7. And then why is that important? Why is that important? Why? And you know what? And in the end, it came down to, because I want to make sure that children do not go through what I went through as a child. And it's unbelievable that I'm on this call right. It almost doesn't even make sense that kind of I don't know. There's no coincidences, but yeah, I mean, I come from the brokenness childhood you could even think of. But my first was, why do I want to be successful? So I can financially do whatever I choose. To the 7th was, I want to make sure that no children ever go through what I experienced as a child. So it's a miracle. I just want to thank you, and that's what I wanted to add.
Well, thank you for being here. And I don't know who this person is, apparently, and I'm like meeting your coach, and that's okay, right? Like, I'm a human. and what's amazing is that apparently you care so much about your business that you hired yourself a professional coach. I've spent $100,000 on training and development on myself in 13 years, and I still thought about not being alive on this planet because of what I went through, and it was such a hard thing for me to walk away from. So I'm so grateful for you to be here. I'd love for you at some point for you to take a stage and a microphone in a few weeks to share what you know about your business and how you can add value to us. And thank you for sharing that. I look forward to doing that assignment tonight as well, and connecting more. Hold on, he's on mute.
I'll email it to you if you want. I'll share it with you.
Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you. And then I'm going to kick it over to Rebecca. What is there something? Tim's story is awesome. I love that. Someone saying Tim is often. Rebecca, was there something you wanted to add before?
I would love to hear from everybody. I haven't had a chance to even look through the chat stuff. So you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. Reach out, send me a friend request, follow me or something so I can figure out how to get hold of you. It would be great to stay in touch. Thank you so much for coming tonight. It was great to be with you all.
You are amazing. And I'm actually going to do something to make it easier, because I know how would you possibly be able to manage the chat because you're speaking and you were adding so much value. So I'm putting the Facebook and the Instagram for Celebrate Your Success. Rebecca shares insights on there at least once a week. Actually, I think she has 2 days a week. So I put her, did I put Facebook? I did. We are live, so yes. So I put both of the information there so you can see her because she follows it. Someone's writing to me, registering now. That's interesting. Someone's coming on now. Look, Rebecca, well, they're going to have to watch this on the replay.
Yeah.
Look at that. You're so important. People saw the Zoom registration link. They're like, we are coming. And then what we could do is, David, I'll send you my email through Instagram in a moment. And yeah, cool. Thank you. I'll send you my email through Instagram. And wherever you're finding this, you can reach me. And if you need my specific contact information, to pick up the phone. If you can't find it, DM me, I'll give it to you. And I'm going to add one last thing before I let everybody go, is that the phone is a valuable thing to waste. I'll say that again, the phone is a valuable thing to waste. If you need us at any point, because there are more people on this call than what we realize who've dealt with really hard times, loss of loved ones, they have lost, like witnessed things, murders. They've witnessed the death of loved ones right in front of them. And 69 people since this afternoon have registered today. Unbelievable. Look at this for this experience. Thank you, Ronnie. And I just want you to know that if you need me anytime, day or night, because you are not okay, call my phone, double dial. I will be there for you. And I'm sure there's plenty of other people on this call that are the same way. And thank you for reminding me the importance, those top 10 tips at the end. I can't wait to see them again, because I am really working on, because I have trouble sleeping at night knowing how many people need my help. So I'm so grateful to know that we keep growing, that I'm not serving these people alone, and we are better together. So until next time, because we're here to share hope. We're here to share inspiration. We're here to make a difference in the world. And apparently someone else registered and they want more of you, Rebecca. So they will find. Yes. Until next time, we will see you on Celebrate Your Success next Sunday. Also on Instagram, on Facebook, on Clubhouse. And I love you. I appreciate you. This is your grateful realtor signing off, not for now, but forever. Until next time, thank you for being here. Thank you for the value you add. And oh my gosh, sorry, my cat's moving furniture at this point.
It was a pleasure to meet everybody here tonight. I'm going to look forward to trying to get here every Sunday. A lot of valuable information, and hopefully if anyone needs any help with sales training or some other stuff that I can provide to help grow business, grow residual income, help people, I'm happy to do it. Thank you so much for inviting me, Erica.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Erica and Rebecca. That was so awesome. You did such a great job.
Thank you, dear. See
Thank
y'all
you.
soon. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye, guys.